And so when you're in the thick of that, in the thick of the downturn, how do you start to figure out when it's time to stop playing defense and start building a path forward?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, are
I
there specific
actually,
signs that you look for?
yeah, um, I got a lot of mixed signals on that. And so I took advice from COVID. So my perspective going into this time was, hey, you know what? We really kind of tried to manage the waves by reducing staff and keeping our costs in line. And because it shot back up in 5 months, I sort of regretted that. I would have rather maintained some capacity in hindsight, knowing that things were going to shoot up again.
Yeah.
I talked to a person that, and they were probably right when they told me, and I, this is a pretty respected business person. He said, you can't cut your way out of a recession. You have to sell your way out of a recession. And that has always sort of resonated in my mind. And so, and I heard that at the beginning of COVID, and certainly that was the case for COVID. This time around, in hindsight, I'm looking at that going, I don't know about that. I think that because this talk gets to being on the defensive or on the offensive. I was straight on the offensive right when this started. I had made investments in the reality show, UCC. I had made investments in hiring more leadership.
Yep.
I mean, I
ultimate
was
coding. UCC is the ultimate coding chip. Yep.
I'd opened the Costa Rica office. There's some other things that I made because I've gone over this list in my head before. So I was going, you know what? I'm going to power through this.
Yeah. And
I didn't power through it. What I ended up doing is blowing through lots of cash, millions of dollars in cash, and that I think was being on the offensive. And I think in that regard, I should have been on the defensive in the beginning, because now if you were to ask me that same person, if you were to ask me to reflect on what that guy told me back in COVID, hey, you can't cut your way out of a recession. You can only sell your way out. I think that you got to choose your timing. And I think that this type of cycle, these things, unlike COVID, these last a while. You're talking years. And you have to prepare for that. And so when I look back, all of that horsepower that I had on top of funnel and everything that we were doing there, it didn't move the needle a whole lot, because when you have buyers that aren't buying, or a market that's not buying, there's not a whole lot you can do except probably get on the defensive, manage your P&L to stay break even, and weather the storm and figure out where the market's going, right? Where are the opportunities? Because there's opportunities in every market. It's just finding them, finding the pain points in that market that people are willing to pay money for. And so that's what I would do differently there on that side. Kind of the offensive defensive piece is what I would do differently. And I don't ever really think that you get on the offensive in some ways. I mean, once you find the cracks and you kind of find the pathways. So after a year and you're constantly exploring the market and exploring customers and talking with customers and looking broadly and trying to figure out where the openings are, like a running back, right? You're trying to figure out, you're going to do bursts through little areas through the hole, and then you're going to reevaluate. And so in that way, they're little micro steps of being on the offensive, and that's being just tactical. And I think that's really smart. But there's the general awareness is cautious. And for me, I think it's just mitigating risk. Hey, I can shoot and try that hole. And if I get, smashed by a linebacker, it's okay, because I can live another day and have another play.